Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing great, thank you.
Nice to meet you. Let's get started with the IELTS Speaking Test. We'll begin with part 1, where I'll ask questions about everyday topics. Let's start by talking about your hometown. Can you tell me what the weather is like where you live?
Yes, of course. So it's currently fall here in Toronto. Fall is so beautiful in Canada, especially trees change different colors and there's so many beautiful things to see in fall. Also, the weather is just perfect. It's not too hot or not too cold during the fall in Canada, so it's great right now.
Do you prefer hot or cold weather?
To be quite frank, I prefer weather that's on the cooler side just because sometimes when it gets too hot, it's a bit unbearable out there. However, when it gets too cold, it's also not so good because the winters in Canada are quite cold. So I'd say I prefer temperature that's in between hot and cold.
Do you check the weather forecast often?
Yes, I do check the forecast every day before I go out, just because I want to make sure I'm not underdressed or overdressed and my kids don't get sick.
How do you think the weather affects your daily activities?
I'd say the weather does affect my daily activities quite a bit because I usually like to take my kids to the park and the park is outside. So if it's too cold out, I would not plan to take them outside. However, if the weather is bearable and it's not so cold, then definitely we take them to the park.
Have you noticed any changes with the weather in your area the past few years?
Oh, yeah, I'd say about 10 years or even 15 years ago, the winters used to be very cold in Canada, literally minus 30 Celsius or maybe minus 20 Celsius, I should say. However, in the past 5 years, I'd say the weather in wintertime is not as harsh as it used to be. So I have noticed a drastic change in the weather in the past years.
Great, that brings us to the end of part 1. Let's move on to part 2. In this section, I am going to give you a question and I will give you 1 minute to prepare your answers. Then you will need to speak for a full 2 minutes on this given topic. Describe a sport that you enjoy watching. You should say what the sport is, why you enjoy watching it, and who you watch it with. Now you can begin.
So on a day-to-day basis, I'd say I don't really enjoy watching any sports. However, during the FIFA World Cup, I really enjoyed soccer because it just brought friends and family together and just to watch it and to enjoy time. Soccer is a fun sport because it's very fast-paced. So that way, you're entertained the whole time because if the one team is trying to kick the ball in the net and the other teammate actually steals the ball, it just gets so exciting. So I definitely say soccer is a sport I really enjoy watching. During the FIFA World Cup, we'd actually go to an outdoor area where they'd have a big TV and everybody just get together and watch the game together because it happened during a time where the weather was perfect, so the kids were able to play in the field while the parents watched the game and cheer their teams on.
Thank you. Well done. Now let's move on to part 3 of the IELTS speaking exam. What are the most popular sports in your country?
I'd say the most popular sports in my country are hockey and basketball. Hockey is very popular in Canada because lots of people enjoy watching hockey as well as playing it.
Do you think children should play sports at a young age?
Yes, I do believe it's important for children to play sports when they are younger because it builds confidence in them and it also has so many other benefits like learning how to play as a team, teamwork skills, and also just learning how to have hand-eye coordination, which is such a good essential skill.
And speaking of practice, ladies, if you're looking to join a community where you will be able to practice your speaking, then you might find my IELTS Speaking Ladies Club really interesting. This ladies club is actually hosted over Zoom. I actually teach you ladies. We go over different IELTS speaking mock tests. I give you feedback and I give you any suggestions, tips on anywhere I think you can improve on. If you are interested in this ladies club, make sure you join down below. I've made it specifically for those of you who are stay-at-home moms, who have lots of responsibility of taking care of your children, and maybe you want to learn English from home and you want to become that confident English speaker. Check the description box down below. What do you think the role of technology has played in watching and playing sports?
I think technology has played a great role on teaching people how to play sports as well as watching sports. Now, for instance, you could even watch YouTube videos on how to score the best goal in soccer, for example, and you could literally learn certain techniques off YouTube to learn how to be a better soccer player. And on the other hand, with watching sports, it's made it so much more accessible to just stream a game that you wanted to watch and watch it from your device.
In your opinion, how important is physical activity in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle?
Research shows that physical activity has lots of benefits, and more than anything, it improves your mood and it also helps you live longer and stay healthy. So I definitely say physical activity plays a huge role on staying healthy throughout your life.
What can be done to encourage people to play more sports?
I'd say to make sports more fun and maybe use some technology to make sports. For example, I think it's the Wii system. It has certain sports games you can play on Wii, like golfing, I think. And this is a way to encourage kids to play more sports is by using a sense of technology so they become more interested, more excited, and then they could move up to playing actual sports.
Thank you very much. This concludes the IELTS speaking test. Let's move on to some feedback. For fluency and coherence, you were actually wonderful at speaking clearly and fluently throughout your answers. In addition to this, you actually were able to structure your answers in a way that were easy to understand. And for grammatical range and accuracy, you used complex grammar, so that was great. And for pronunciation, your pronunciation was quite clear and easy to understand. For lexical resource, you actually were able to use different vocabulary words, which actually made it easy for me to understand, which actually helped convey your ideas precisely. There were a few minor slips, but they didn't impact your overall clarity. Based on your performance, I would actually score you a band 8.5 on the IELTS speaking test.